We're starting. Today is on, oh, I didn't make a little slide cover. Oh well. Today's on Moodle Quizzes Volume 3. We're going to go over the new kinds of quiz questions. I'm just making sure the mic works. The mic's working. We're going to go over the new kind of quiz questions today. I'm going to continue to work like I did on the last two sessions on a test in my class, just so there's some real questions that I'll put in there instead of kind of the nonsensical ones that I've done in the past. So we're going to get right to it. By the way, if you're just tuning in to the Moodle quiz stuff, Volume 1 was on setting, or Session 1 was on, and they're all on the channel, on setting up quizzes, setting up your quiz categories for your questions so that they're more organized. And then number 2 was on kind of the standard questions that everyone's used to: true or false, multiple choice, matching, and multiple choice with multiple answers. Those were the 4 that we went over last time. Oh, and essay. We went over essay last time as well, and how to grade those. And then today we're going to go over the new ones. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's not a really important phone call. And I'm going to hope it wasn't time critical, and just let it go to voicemail for now. So first I made a quiz, although I could do this just as easily from my question bank and add questions, but I'm going to edit my quiz and I'm going to add some questions here. So we learned in the first session that when we add things to our question bank, we could do it right inside the quiz by clicking add, or we have our question bank that's in the administration section on the left-hand side that we can go to questions and add questions there. So I'm going to click add, and I'm going to add a new question, and we're looking at these ones down here on the bottom, and we're going to do the drag and drop into text and the select missing words, those two first, because they're really similar. So the drag and drop into text is the first one I'm going to do, and that's pretty easy. So we're going to do drag drop onto text. We pick our category. If we've got our category set up, I'm going to go ahead and pick chapter 7, which is the section that we're in. And like I talked about last time, I like to, at the beginning of all my questions, say what I can it relates to, because it's just about organizing later. So my first one is going to be this question about hard drives, and it's really a sentence that I'm going to pull some words out of. I think it's easier, instead of trying to find words, if you start with a sentence that basically you want them to complete, and then we pull out some of those words. So the I can that this relates to is explaining the basic parts, purpose, and specifications of a hard drive, I can 7-8. So I'm going to start this with 7-8 parts of a hard drive.
Say hi to Sharon.
Hello, Sharon. Okay, so she got it logged on and she's in there, and okay. Maybe she just needed to log out and log on last time after she set up her account. So again, the question name, no one sees that but me, but the whole point of having the ICANN number up front is for organizing and picking out questions for like the semester exam later. So here's my state that I'm gonna start with. I'm gonna take this and I can drop it straight into Moodle. And then I have to say what words I want to pull out of here to make the ones the students are going to pull up. Okay? So a blank consists of one or more rigid, hard, rotating disks. So I'm going to take out we're talking about definitions of a hard disk drive. So I'm going to take that word out, and the first spot, use double brackets to do it. So I'm going to double bracket 1, double bracket, close. So it's going to put a blank there that's going to be where answer number 1 goes. So I'm going to go down here to the bottom, and I'm going to say, put that word that I just cut out of there in there. Oh, and I put the whole sentence. So the word was just HDD. And that is the answer for number 1. Okay? So I'm not going to have a whole bunch of words, but I'm going to have a whole bunch of choices. So I'm only going to take out 2 words in this sentence to show you how it works. So I'm going to put other answers down here that really don't apply. Those don't apply to that. They're just other words that are types of drives that a student might bit off on and pull up there. So it's going to say a blank consists of one or more rigid, hard, rotating discs or platters with magnetic head arranged on a moving actuator arm. Can we help you? Is this an emergency? We're right in the middle of my Tuesday class.
You hear that noise? That's my son.
What?
That bing bing, that's my son.
I put it on Do Not Disturb so we wouldn't get another call from them. Okay, so that's one of the words that are going to be able to drag up. And let's see, let me pick another word that I want to pull out of here. I'm going to pull out the word magnetic as my other word that I'm going to pull out of here is choice number 2. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put bracket, bracket, 2, bracket, bracket. And then I might want to pick some other word that they might bid off on other than the word magnetic. So I'm going to put polarized. I'm going to say optical. I can make some more ones down here.
So what's the group thing?
I'll show you that in a second. Okay. So optical, and I'm going to say laser. That sounds good. Okay, so right now, and like we said last class, I changed the default points. One's only for true or false. I'm going to make this worth 2 points, relative points, and then I'm going to say save changes, and we're going to look at what this one looks like right now. Okay, so when they come into this question, by the way, oops, that's not the question we just did. This one is. There we go. When they come into this, they're going to see it like this. It's going to rotate these words every single time, and it's going to look just like this. And they're going to be able to pull whatever the right answer is up into the sentence. Okay. And Dan's question was, what are those groupings? So right now, any of these words could be used in either one of the 2 blanks that I've got up there. The grouping is for, I'm going to go back in there. If you want to make it so they're only looking at certain choices for certain ones of them, so I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to say group 1 is going to be all the ones relating to the first question, okay? And group 2 are going to be the choices relating to the second question. And I'll show you what it does when I do grouping like that. So question number, that's the answer for number 1. It's in group 1, and these are other answers. Now there's no choice 3, so it's not matching with anything. And then I'm going to say save. Oh, actually, I just did preview. Will it show me the preview with the colors? No, I have to save it before I can do that. So I'm going to save, and then we'll take a look at it now. Now the different choices are colored differently. So it's saying, hey, one of these 3 goes in that spot, and one of these 4 goes in that spot. So I could have a whole paragraph with 5 or 6 words missing, and have a whole bunch of different groupings, so they know this laser one, this can't be the right answer for that. It will not let me drop it in there. It will only let me drop that word over here in that one. See how it highlighted? And hard disk drive can go up here, but it can't go over there. So when they're doing that, it's a way, especially if there's some words that might be taken more than one way, to make sure they bit off on the right one. Honestly almost never use that, because this is a verbatim sentence out of the reading that they were assigned for the test.
But you could
take someone who my room is smelling from that.
If you wanted to offer a remediation of a question, for an individual that needs a smaller choice, because if you did a paragraph and did 10 different things that were missing, you may or may not want to actually then group those up. also actually have the option of, as you see where he pulled those up, and as he pulled them up from the bank of available questions,
Oh, right. They disappeared.
they disappeared.
So,
But you can keep it so that the bank actually stays full.
Right. So I'm going to go to that, Dan, just to show them what that is. So when I'm going to go back to the same question, and it only really makes sense if I think if you don't have them grouped, but if I have it, because you're only going to have one in each one. So if I'm going to put these all back to group 1 again. And then I'm going to make them unlimited. I'm going to save and show you what that looks like then. So now, if I go and pull a word up to here, it doesn't go away. It's still down there. Because it's possible that that's the same word that goes in more than one blank. And so you can't do it by process of elimination because you never eliminate anything.
Right.
So that's what that means, and that's a good point, Dan. So on that one, that's all that unlimited means. You can't eliminate choices because the choice is going to continue to be there. Do you have anything else on this one, Dan? I think the hitting the shuffle button makes all those choices shuffle. I thought they shuffled anyway. I didn't realize they weren't shuffling. I guess I needed to hit that because I do want those shuffled every time.
Yeah. Sharon's wanting to know if this one is a short answer. Could you do this as a short answer? But this one,
no, this is word specific.
Yeah.
I don't see how you do that. Okay, so that's one of those. Let's do the next kind, and the next kind is really similar to this one, and it's a new one. It's select the missing word. It is almost exactly the same as that one. In fact, when I set this up, I'm going to do the same thing. It's 7-8, and I've got my words here. And I'm going to put my sentence in here. And it looks exactly the same. Now, though, they're not going to drag words up. They're going to see them out of a drop-down list. So, the most common form factors for modern HDDs. Okay, so we're going to say, we're going to take that out. I'm going to make that answer number 1. And you set it up exactly the same way. The double bracket, 1 double bracket. That's where that one's going to be. R blank inch for desktop computers. I'm going to take that out and make that choice number 2. So again, I take this word out and do the double bracket. And that's the square one. I just didn't get that. There we go. Desktop computers and 2.5 inch in laptops. So this time I'm going to have 3 choices. Okay, and then I've got to, or I'm going to change my default points to 2 again. I'm going to shuffle up my answers, and now I can have some more drop-down choices here. Say 5.5 inch. Put SDDs. That's probably good enough. Okay, now, I'm not grouping these. I'll show you how to do that too. Right now, all those choices, if I go to this question, are on all these as drop-downs. So I pick one. 2 most common form factors for modern HDDs are 3.5 in desktops, and you see none of them go away. All the choices are there all the time. So they have to know what each one is. Now, we have the same thing with grouping like we had before. Let me go ahead and go back to this one and go to the grouping. That's going to make them not show up in each other's answer. So I'm going to say HDDs and SDDs are group 1, and these are all group 2. I'll show you what that looks like. So now this one only shows those 2 answers. This one shows all 3 of those and both those 2 because I made those 2 the same groupings. So you have to know in this case what's the size for a desktop computer drive, what's the size for a laptop computer drive, and there are form factors for hard disk drives because there's no 3.5-inch hard disk drive or solid state drive, and that's how they know that. But that's what the grouping does. It says which ones are going to be available in this drop down.
Okay, go back to that the setup of this, how it looks like when you're actually working on a question. All right, so all of these that are working like this, they all have the double brackets around each individual missing word.
And that is the one that's the right answer. So you have to make sure number 1 is the word that's down here in choice 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is the choice that's down here, and you don't have to do it numerically. I could have made this 6 and put it in the 6 column. So I could do my choice 1, the right answer, wrong answer, and then go straight to 4 for the next block, right answer, wrong answer, wrong. I just always have done it this way. It doesn't really matter, but it has to point to whichever one is the right answer down here in the choice list, so it knows. And this grouping in this one just says which items are going to be available in that question for the drop down. I like this question. I actually had not used this one before at all, so that's new for me. I can't believe how bad my
well, that's the thing, is all these are really, really similar on their construction. As we go through, anytime there's a drop down or missing word, drag, drop, there are almost always going to be a bracket, all right, that corresponds to the correct answer that's at the bottom of the test question that you create.
Okay, so we're going to add another. Anything else for that? Any questions?
No, Sharon was wondering, exactly how it goes and putting them in the actual groups and stuff like that.
These new ones that are added to the end, and really it's these last 4 down here, the ones we're doing today. Those I think were really added more than anything else to make it so they match more with current online testing stuff, because there's a lot of these kind of questions on current online testing. So, and I didn't say this, by the way, but description, all that is like a label in your test. So if you're an English teacher and you want to have them read a passage and then answer questions on the passage, that's what description is. There's no question to it. If I did this one and I added this, there's no question to it at all. It's just here, it says question text, it's just the text that you want to show in the test. If you use this because you want them to read this passage and then answer these questions on the passage for reading comprehension, and this may apply to Sharon really well, you have to make sure you don't shuffle the questions on your test, because that would be really confusing, because you could have the wrong questions follow the wrong reading. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out because I don't think we talked about that last time. Okay, so the next one is one that can apply to a lot of science. In my class in particular, it's the drag and drop markers onto an image. So basically it's labeling the picture, okay? So this one is a little bit difficult because you have to figure out coordinates and where the right place to go is. So this one's also 7-8. Label the hard drive. Okay, so they're gonna, in this one, they're going to have to label parts of a HDD. Remember to drop the, what do you call it, crosshairs.
Crosshairs.
The words. Okay, and this will make sense here in a second. Basically, the word is going to be next to a kind of crosshair target. It doesn't know how big the words are, so the words can't mean anything. It's just that target they're gonna be dropping on there. I'm gonna make this worth 3 points, and so here's where we go first. First of all, we have to drop an image on here. I've already got an image saved, and of course, I just opened another document, screen. I'm just going to drag and drop this picture of a hard drive right in there. And all I did was drag that right in there. So now I've got this hard drive picture in my Moodle page. Now, we have to say, when we're going to label these things, we have to give some range of correctness, right? So I'm going to do areas around my target that would be correct, okay?
What shape are you going to go for?
Well, I can do rectangles, I can do circles, or I can actually do anything else if I want to plot every single point of the thing.
But you'd say that circles and rectangles are probably the easiest.
They're the easiest. Rectangles and circles are the easiest. Okay, so the next thing down here, and by the way, this is 0, 0. That is 10, 10, 20, 20, 30, 30, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. So, and these are 100 by 100 blocks that you see the other lines. So as we're going to go, the first marker that I'm going to go is going to do the actuator head. So that's 1, 2, I'm going to say 275 by 1, 2, I did 275 by 285 just to give me a spot. So the first marker that I'm going to have is, read.
Now the coordinates, once you actually put those in, you can change them and move them around until you get to where you like them.
And you almost have to. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to shrink it back down, and I'm going to open up drop zones. So I'm going to do a circle, and if you don't know how to do it, you just hit the circle here, and it says, look, for a circle, you say X, Y, radius, okay? So it's comma, 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 number, colon, and the radius. So I said, and if I remember, I said 275, comma, 285, semicolon, and now I'm going to say the radius. So I'm going to say 30, which is probably humongous, and there it is. As soon as I got in all the numbers, we saw it pop up right there. That's pretty close to centered around there. I'd say it's close enough.
Yeah.
I might want to be nicer and say, okay, let's do a little bigger circle just in case they're really close, but they don't get it on there. I'm gonna save the question right now, and we're gonna come back here so you can kind of see how it works. So the circle, what you saw, was really, really easy to drop. I like circles. In fact, I'll do one more because this one's even going to be easier. I'm going to say platter. By the way, the whole circle thing is the platter. So marker number 2 is the platter. So I'm going to find the center and use the radius. So 205 by 200. 205 by 200. 205, comma, 200, colon. I have no idea. I'm going to say 250. It's too big. How much too big is it? I'm going to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. About 50 200. Too big. So if I said 200, anywhere in that circle, well, you know what? If they can't get it closer than that, I'm going to say 195. How about that? Okay, so that's about perfect. If I moved it down a little bit, it would be perfect. Look, it's a little bit high right there. Okay, so I've got 2 circles right now that they have as drop zones. I'm going to go and save the question.
Now, do you notice, though, that the coordinates that he's putting in there, even though we are going down, all right, it's not negative.
Right, there never is a negative number.
And it will actually tell you, if you put a negative number in there, it will tell you that it's not working out, you've got a negative number, you need to fix it.
Yeah, it won't let you. So, by the way, I can put other markers in here. If I go, say, actuator arm, I'm going to go ahead and do that and try to save it here. So, save changes. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? And I go down here, and it says, you've got a marker with no drop zone. So I've got a third marker, but I've got no place to put it. So it will not let me save if it's incorrect. So if I want to fix that, I just need to take that out. And now if I try to save, it's going to save. Oh, it should save. Why didn't I save that time? You have specified. Oh, I didn't say which one. I was supposed to say which one was the right answer. There we go. That's why. It specified a drop zone, but didn't say a marker. Oh, I think I could have said that. Can I do that? I don't know if it'll let me do more.
Wait, you didn't?
I did. Let me do it. So here's what the question looks like. So there, I don't know what it's going to do with that one. So I need to go and say, okay, the platter, and this is the crosshairs that I'm talking about. That little crosshair has to be anywhere inside that circle to get it right. Now the read write head has to be anywhere, and hopefully they do that, right? Because that is the read write head, that little tiny spot on the end. The rest of it's just kind of giving them a margin of error. The actuator arm's actually right there. I'm just kind of wondering how does it score that when you gave one that doesn't even have, and then, let's see, close preview. It didn't have a correct, it just didn't count it because there's nowhere to put it. I don't know, I've never done that before.
Did you try to fill it? Have it fill itself to see if it would go?
Oh, I don't know. I could try that. Let's I haven't done that before. I've only had the same number that I had. So what Dan was saying was fill with correct responses. Yeah, it put it right in the middle of my spots, but it just didn't move that up. I think it's not going to grade actuator arm. I had very highly desired today. Hello?
Are we live again?
I just turned it, yeah, we're live again.
Actually, here's a good question from Sharon is, what happens if you drop the platter too close to the read-write head?
If you did this,
yeah,
it'd count them both right. Because the platter is still inside this circle, and the read-write head is, I mean, you could literally put them both right there. And it would count it right because they overlap.
Yeah, do you get partial credit?
You get full credit.
Well, okay, and now what if I actually add one of them in and one of them out?
Well, you get partial credit. Like if you had read-write head here and platter here, you'd get half credit for that question right now. Because only half of the question is right. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
it gives partial credit for that.
I was fielding a question from Sharon.
Okay, so let's do the next one because rectangles are a little harder. Okay, so my next one I'm gonna say that's the actuator arm. This is the actuator itself, so I'll do actuator for the next one because that's easier than, I'm gonna just say actuator. And then I'm gonna set shuffle drag items each time. Sure, yes, I'm gonna shuffle those out. So now I'm gonna drop zone and mark. This time we're gonna go and add a rectangle. So rectangles, switch it to rectangle, and the last one's polygon because that's the hardest. Rectangles are a little bit different. If we go to the drop down, we can see we do the, I don't know why it says left top, X and Y of the top left corner, okay? And then it's gonna be how wide and how high it is. So basically how far down it's gonna drop from there and how far over it's gonna go from there. So we need to say where's the top of it. So I'm gonna say right here because this is gonna be my correct answer for the actuator. So I'm gonna go 100, 200, 300, 410 and down 40. Okay, so 410 and 40, 410, comma, 40. And now we do the colon, and I'm gonna, or semicolon, I'm gonna make sure I'm doing it right, yep. And now we're doing the width and the height. So now I'm gonna say from there, I'm gonna go over 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 20, 30, 40, 50, 150. I'm going to say both ways 150. make it easier myself and see what it looks like. 150, because like Dan said, it's kind of trial and error. And there's my box, and that is pretty, and you see as soon as you finish the numbers, I'm gonna go over, because that's really still the actuator there too, I'm gonna go over 20 more on my width. So I'm gonna say 170. And now that's the whole actuator. Boy, that would be hard if they get, I'm gonna call that close enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's close enough. So now I've got the actuator that can drop anywhere in there, and that's gonna be an actuator. And honestly, I use circles and rectangles 99% of the time. And I'm going to say 99 because this will be the 1% that I haven't, because I never did well with the rhombus. We're going to give it a try. So now we're going to do the last one. Oh, by the way, this one is actuator. And then I'm going to add my last marker. And I'm going to say actuator arm. And now I'm going to try that rhombus, and that is a tough one. Okay, so I'm going to look at the directions on here. So, or sorry, for the polygon. So on this one, we're doing all the coordinates of every spot that we want to link together. And it says ... here because we can keep doing coordinates, and it'll do whatever shape we want it to do. So we need the X and Y's of everything that we want. So I'm going to go back up here, and I actually am going to write this down because I'm going to get confused. So my first one, I really would like that moved because it's going to be right there, but we'll see if we, so 100, 200, 200, and, well, it's actually right where my read-write head is. So let me look at what that one was. 275, 285. So that's my first point. I'm going to write them down with my dry erase marker over here. So 275, comma 285, semicolon. Now I got to figure the one up here because this whole thing is my actuator arm. So I'm going to go 100, 200, 300, 400, and 10, 20, 30, 40, 440. And how many down? 110. Okay, and then I got to get my last one, which is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. We're going to say 510.
You're going away.
And down, I'm going to say 185. 185. Let's see how close that is and how close that goes around like that. And like I said, this is new to me. I've been a wimp and just used circles before, so we'll see how well I do on this one. So polygon, I'm going to do 275, comma 285, semicolon 440, comma 110, semicolon 510, comma 185. Fingers crossed. Ah! Hey, that's pretty good. I give myself an A. The only thing about this, because I did the exact points of that, man, they have got to really make sure they get it right on there. I may have wanted to come down a little more, out a little more, and out a little more to make sure that they got the whole thing. Because if they drop that close but not right on, they are doomed. Right there. So I may want to do something like, okay, raise this to 100 so it stretches it out a little bit. Lower this to 195 so it stretches that down a little bit. I'm doing pretty good about getting most of it there. In fact, just bringing that up and that down really brought that all in there pretty well. And then I, again, have to go and say what is the right answer. There's my right answer. So now that's what it's going to look like. I love this question, this kind of question, because, and I used it big in my motherboards. In the past, you know, when I had a motherboard, I had, you know, A, B, C, and D, and then they said, you know, I did a matching with what's A and what's B. Well, it was easy because I only had 4 things on the motherboard, and they had to figure out which one, what was that one? Well, I know that one, Now it's just a picture of a motherboard, label the motherboard, and they got to drag and drop everything. Way better question to see if they actually know the answer than what I had before. Yeah, the funny thing is, you can see this right here. That was one of the questions, where the M2 slot is. This diagram has been on this board since before we did it. And yet, most of the kids got where the M2 slot is wrong. And afterwards, I'm like, who doesn't know where the M2 slot is? And it's like, student raising their hand. I'm like, there's a diagram right there on my dry erase board. How do you miss that question? Oh, I didn't know we could look. What do you mean you didn't know you could look? That's like a teacher's got an alphabet around their room saying, what's an E look like, and not expecting you to go like this when you're, in first grade. Anyway. So that's that question. Do you have anything to add on that one, Dan? I mean, it's usable in all kinds of stuff. Labeling a cell, labeling anything.
Oh, and that's the thing, is that, you could get as complex with it as you want. A cell would be really nice. And the fact that, the polygon one, moving it around, you could get really, really complex with it.
And that's where students get it wrong right there. Like, the words actuator are on the actuator arm, but the target is not. And that's what I'm like, you guys, you have to make sure you show them this kind of question.
You have to tell them that crosshairs.
That it's the crosshair that's graded, not the words. The words mean nothing. If you go and do this and say it's on the platter, no, the crosshair is not on the platter.
Now the next drag and drop one actually gives you a box to drag and drop it into.
Okay, so I'll be honest, Dan. I have never done that one.
That one's actually
I've never done that
one.
It's
more
simplistic.
simplistic.
Do you want to show how to do that one, or is it harder?
No,
is it so easy?
It's easy.
So this is the drag and drop markers one. I've never tried that one. I've only done this one. So no, drag and drop onto image. Sorry, that's the one we're doing. Okay.
Because this one you can actually drag an image on top of an image.
So do you have, okay, I don't know.
It's nifty.
I don't know how to do this one. I don't have a good example for this one. 7, 8 hearts. I don't know. This one I wasn't prepared for because I actually forgot about this question. So label. I'm not going to even put words in there this time. So I drag and drop an image, and then I drag and drop more images that I'm going to drag onto the image?
You can, or you can make it words. You can make it text.
Okay, so let's say...
let's go with the same image as before.
I got to move it over here.
Oh, sorry.
No, my bad. I should have moved that over to that screen when I was doing it in the first place. So the same image, we're going to drag right in there, okay? So now I say draggable items.
Yeah, see, Heidi actually said that she is planning on using this for landforms, erosion, deposition. Because you usually have like a cross section of a landscape or so, and being able to drag and drop these different things.
Okay, so I can use text or images, and if it's an image, I just drive an image.
Just drop an image in there. Now they give you rectangles to put the things into, so they could be, almost anything.
So how do I define? Okay, let's say I drag an image in there. I'm gonna find another. Boy, I wish I had.
Hey, you want to see a ridiculous one? There's one on my old social studies page.
So if I drag a motherboard on there, I could then say, now, will this resize them, or will it be ginormous?
The ones that come in here are, I don't think you have the ability to, I think it does it for you, I should say.
Where it plugs into the motherboard. This may not end up being a motherboard question, or it may end up being a motherboard question. So what I did was this is where you plug in hard drives, okay? So I said drag the item where it plugs into the motherboard. And then how do I define I guess that would be under the drop
Now,
zone.
see these drop zones on here.
How do I define it?
Now the did you put an image or you're just going with Word?
I did. I dropped an image in there.
Okay. Okay, it's in there.
Max size for new files 256. That might be too big. Let me take a look at this. Let's see if I picked one that's too big. No, that's not too big. It's 284K, so it's not too big at all.
All right.
It's kind of crazy that it's 284K.
Now, where's your mark? Well, the marker one.
That's the question.
Yeah, the drop zone.
Yeah. How do I define
All right.
those?
Minimize the one above it. Yeah, that minimize that. So okay, now that you're in here, click on the left one, that left box.
Okay.
All right, and drag it up into the picture.
Drag this.
Yeah. So remember, one of these I did a drag on.
The weird thing is, it doesn't even see my draggable item. Refresh preview.
Oh, there, the draggable item. There.
Okay. So
Now you can drag it where you want to.
So I'm going to drag that there. Excellent. That is awesome. That is really easy.
Yeah. Now the thing is
Now that I know how to do it.
Yeah, but look at the preview. Here's the thing: you're going to need more than just one thing in the image.
Well, yeah, because
then I'll put the oh, I don't know where that goes.
I'm gonna save it and preview the question. Like I said, I haven't done this one, so yeah, that would be really hard not to know that.
Yeah, and the nice thing is go ahead and pull it back off of it, all right, and just kind of get it close and then let it go. So see that it'll suck it in now. It's sucking it in doesn't say that, yeah, that's it. Now, all the images are all going to be the same size.
They're all going to be the same size, so it's not like
Yes.
you say, oh, this one fits here. Okay.
Yeah, and the text should all be about the same size.
I can't believe how bad that smells. No, I mentioned that. I already emailed Brian Smith to say my room smells like poop. It's coming. It comes out of that sink every once in a while.
Oh, it's probably siphoned off the water plug on it that actually is keeping sewer gas from coming in here.
Well, that's what it smells like. There's no plug. It's just open right there.
Well, I mean, is there any water in the trap?
Well, I have no idea.
If there's no water in the trap, you have sewer gas coming in through there.
So, can I pour water in there?
Yeah, technically, yes, you could.
Well, I mean, would that solve my problem?
It should, unless it's not. I mean, if you pour water in there and it goes completely out, yeah, that would be it. But yeah, if you have water, you could pour it in there. You're only pouring about this much water.
And stop it. We're at the last question anyway. So I know I'm off task here with the poop smell in my room. So basically, this is a bad example because, well, no, you could have memory. If I had a picture of memory, I could say where does memory plug in and do the same thing there. Where does the CPU go?
Do you have an option? Can you put another picture in? Because Heidi was asking if a wrong picture would snap into it. I said yes, but it'd be nice to actually see it.
Heidi with the student?
Yeah, she's been with us for a while.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's do that. I haven't done this one before, so I'm actually enjoying getting a new one that I haven't done before. So I'm going to say draggable items. We'll add another pic. I have tons of pictures. I just need to find. I'm going to drag this over here so I can get some pictures. I need memory. I just need an image of memory. Save it real fast.
Yeah. Now you could also pull images into this, basically like you do from the Wikipedia part that's actually linked into the Moodle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and what Dan is talking about is right here. I can do that real fast and show people what we're talking about. So in the drag zone, you can say choose a file, and you could go here to where it says Wikimedia, and I could just type RAM. It's just as easy. And we'll see if it actually gets any memory. I got lots of pictures of RAMs and not of.
Yeah, it's not a really good search, but
memory. Let's try that. See if I get some pictures that I'd like to have. Boy, I'm really not getting exactly what I'd like to see. Well, I'm gonna go with the one I got over here on the other screen, Dan, and use that one. I'm gonna save this image. Pictures. Of course, I need it down. It's in images right now. So I'll drag that over there. So I've got a picture of memory.
Garrett said that our when we went astray there for a while, we should cut that out.
Went off task. Oh, I didn't want that at all. I wanted the drop zones. So let's go to the drop zones. There's some more drop zones. Shrink this down again. And say now I want memory. I'm going to drag memory and put it right over the memory spot there. And then I'm going to hit save, and we'll take a look at how it looks like now. So I've got identically sized pictures, identically sized boxes. So if I drag and drop, and they're not unlimited pictures. Was that a choice?
Oh, for unlimited pictures? Now, I have not noticed that, actually. Well, that would actually, yeah, go ahead back in that and check to see if it actually has it. It would down.
Items, yep.
Yeah, unlimited, yeah.
So they would not go away as I drag them.
Yeah, that makes it for a very nice picture.
So that actually, I really could use this question in my class. I would just need to get some more items that are draggable to say where those things plug in. I could have a picture of a CPU, have a picture of a video card, have a picture of a mouse, and label those things that plug in. That's a nice interactive picture that works well for for this one. Again, I haven't used this one before, but I like that question.
Sharon just asked if basically anything that that's a JPEG or something like that would actually work.
Mine were JPEGs that I just dragged over there. I think both of them were. Yeah, both mine were JPEGs, but I'm sure any image file.
Honestly, I made one the other day when I was just refreshing my memory on this, and I didn't even look. I didn't even care what they were.
What kind of
picture
was?
And basically, as long as it is, probably could be a PNG, and it would still work just as well.
I could tell you, because I could grab a PNG picture down here right now and see whether. Of course, I don't know what it's a picture of. It says Moodle. Oh, there we go. It took PNG. It didn't care. I think the only thing it's looking at is not too big. It says 256 meg. That's the maximum file size for an upload to Moodle. It's just saying you can't upload anything bigger than Moodle. If you have a 256 meg picture, that's one dang big picture right there. So.
And it actually is going to let you put as many. Look, I mean, you can put as many of those pictures in as you want to, as long as not one of them is bigger than 256. So you can make a rather huge question if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to drag it. I easily could. I'm going to finish this question.
Now, does this one actually have the word answer too?
Yeah. So if one of the down here when we did the pictures, that was one of the draggable items. Down here,
so if you
say draggable text, a CPU socket, and then refresh again to get these. Oh no. Let me refresh. What was that refresh? Refresh. There we go. So CPU socket. Moodle doesn't really belong in here, but I'm going to throw it on there. So CPU socket would be dropped right there. And we'll pretend that Moodle's really a video card and just pop it right there. So you don't have to have a picture. You can just have, it's an easier way to label, honestly.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about this is how big it is compared to the other one. I can get a little more finite dropping on the other one than I
would
on
say,
this one. But the fact that you can make it so the pictures don't disappear.
This is I would say this is really good for younger kids.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to manipulate the stuff and put it in place.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is as great as I like the other one more for high school.
Oh yeah.
There's no way to know where dropping is appropriate, right?
Yeah.
On
this
leads exactly
them,
where
it leads them down, closer to the actual answer. Whereas, the previous one, the entire picture is open for them to put it
anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what this picture is from. Is I would have students label all the parts of another word and stuff. So I'm going to delete this question only because I don't want it to accidentally show up in my test that they're going to take next week.
But it was still an awesome question.
The funny thing is that if the students actually watch these, they'd see questions to many of my tests because I've been adding questions to the test while I've been doing these.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Unless there's any questions, we're done. It's 3:37. We've been going for an hour, so it's time for us to close up shop for the day. Is there any questions from Sharon or Heidi?
Hey, Heidi, the clicking unlimited leaves those inside the bank. So every time you pull it out, the bank stays full.
Yeah.
So the kid doesn't actually use process of elimination off of its available options.
So you could have the same thing in your question more than once, I guess. Couldn't do that though, because you only
don't really want to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if there aren't any other questions from anybody, I'm going to go ahead and shut us down for the day. Thank you, Heidi and Sharon and Dan, for showing up. Appreciate it.
And
Bye.
And Garrett.
And Garrett.